Today I've got 5 tips for you to help you become a more sustainable and eco-friendly gardener. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how these 5 tips can help to support your garden and help you to grow the ecosystem within your garden, that kind of. Hello everyone, hello. Right, are we ready for this week's Natural Gardening Live? We're talking about how to become a more sustainable gardener. Sustainable natural gardening is about reducing the impact or the negative impact you have on your garden's ecosystem and the environment in general, really. It's about support rather than a cure-all, allowing your garden's ecosystem, to develop and take over your plant care and reducing the need for any intervention from yourself unless absolutely necessary. So that's the point of sustainable natural gardening, is to have your garden really kind of take care of most of the work itself. Question for you. How do you support your garden naturally? From the smallest thing to the largest effort in the world, there's lots of different things that you can do for your garden to support it naturally. They all have an impact on the care or the reduce of care in your garden and supporting the ecosystem in your garden. So let us know in the comments, what do you do to help grow and support your garden naturally? So yeah, after we've gone through these 5 tips, let me know in the comments if you're going to take any others on, any other ways of supporting your garden naturally, what you think you can just adapt to and what you think you're actually already doing in your garden. Tip number 1, saving and conserving water. What I mean by this is saving water from the rainwater, natural water sources. Rainwater in your garden can save you a lot of money. That's a no-brainer. And in the heat of the summer, when we get little to no rain, this can be a real lifesaver for your garden and for your pets as well, in some cases as well, and for nature. There are many ways that you can save water. So you can use like the guttering systems and downpipes from your house or sheds, outbuildings, greenhouses, that kind of things, into water butts or storage containers, drums, whatever you're using for water butts. So you can do it that way. If you've got a stream running through your garden or a river running through your garden, drawing water from the river or the stream. Yeah, if you've got a well in your garden, anything like that, if you can draw natural water, absolutely perfect. Save this water because it's a godsend. I like natural water sources, particularly because they're free, usually. Most of the time they're free, and they're much better for your plants. But rainwater contains chemicals that they use to clean the water, purify it, if you like, so it's edible, so we can drink it safely without any issues. But these chemicals they use, the fluoride and chlorine and things that they use to clean the water, actually has a negative effect on your plants in the garden, and over time will alter the pH of your soil. So it's not so good, ideally. But as a worst case scenario, when you haven't got any other form of way of watering them, using the hose pipe isn't the end of the world. But you just don't want to be, ideally, you don't want to do it all the time because eventually it will kind of affect your plants and affect the soil. So this builds up over time. Natural water sources as well contain micronutrients plants need to survive, to grow strong. So this water is much more beneficial to plants than mains water is. And the nutrients that's in the rain or the natural water source is easy for the plants to take up. Tip number 2, support and attract beneficial insects into your garden. Now, beneficial insects can offer incredible support and benefit for your garden. And they can perform a variety of different roles, from pollination, pest control. They even provide nutrients for your plants. They manage to sort of break down the soil and the organic particles in the soil to provide nutrients for your plants. So, beneficial insects, very beneficial indeed. By supporting these insects in your garden, you'll be helping to reduce the amount of intervention that you need to add to your garden to provide care to keep your garden happy and healthy. You can support these little beasts, or these mini beasts, should I say, to call them mini beasts years ago. You're going to support and attract these beneficial insects into your garden by using companion planting, growing a variety of different native species plants as well, a variety of different plants, not just block planting lots of the same plant as well, because if you go for a variety of different plants, it's going to attract a variety of different insects in as well, creating homes for them as well. So I think last week on the aphid one last week, I mentioned about ladybirds and earwigs and various other insects. But the ladybirds like to live in like the dry grasses, and if you make like a hay bundle in the corner of your garden, in like a nook that no one will go near, like they'll be left alone, they'll love to live in this kind of dry grass sort of area. Wood lice like to live in logs. I'm doing a video in a couple of weeks, actually. Weeks, yeah, on wood lice, the benefits for those in the garden as well. So I'll get into more on that then. But they like to live on like decomposing wood in the garden as well, because they'd be very beneficial for your garden and for the soil. And then you've always got the bee hotels that you can buy or make yourself out of like the bundles of bamboo canes cut up and tied together, and piles of stones in the corner. Things like that. They all make perfect homes for all these beneficial insects, and they attract them into your garden because you're giving them a safe place to live. They'll have the food in your garden, so they'll also go towards supporting the development of the ecosystem in your garden to help it sort itself out and care for it. Tip number 3, making your own compost. So now making your own compost can save you a lot of money. It can save you a lot of money. It can also provide a great nutrient source for your garden. Also use composting as a way to recycle kitchen waste paper, cardboard, reducing the amount of rubbish that you put out for the bins. The knock-on effect is you're using bin liners, you're throwing away, less is going into landfill, that sort of things. So you're not giving the rubbish to somebody else, you're using that rubbish to provide benefits to your garden. So it saves you a lot of time as well. So making your own compost is incredibly beneficial, but making your own compost is an incredibly good way of becoming more sustainable in your garden. You can literally grow your own veg, eat it, the waste goes back into your compost to feed the next generation of vegetable plants. You see how the cycle goes. And all of this homemade compost is going to grow its own ecosystem in the compost bin. And then as it goes out into the garden, I tell you, I could talk for days on compost, it's very sad. As it goes out into the garden, you can use it for mulching your plants, you can use it for conditioning the soil, supporting the ecosystem in the soil. So the ecosystem that the compost makes as it's becoming compost and moves out into your garden when you put it out into your garden to feed your plants and provide support for your garden. And then that will help to develop the garden ecosystem and help provide more nutrients for your plants, and everything will run more smoothly as it goes anyway. Tip number 4. Using natural feeds and treatments rather than chemical-based feeds and treatments will help your plants to take up the feed. It's naturally any natural foods, as I say, like the compost, doing the compost yourself, making your own feeds from plants found in the garden, which we'll go into in a second, things like that. The plants will naturally be able to absorb, take them up and utilize them better. So natural feeds, as I was just saying, natural feeds can be made from plants found in your garden, such as nettles, such as comfrey, all sorts of plants in the garden, kitchen waste, often things that be found in your cupboard as well, relatively cheap items, and quite often, if you're using the weeds in your garden, like nettles and things, quite free as well. Just usually the cost of a little bit of water, which if you use your water, then that's even better. And that adds more nutrients to the feed. So there's an awful lot of natural feeds you can make yourself and will cost you next to nothing to make. They will support your garden more effectively. They will help to promote and develop the ecosystem in your soil, which will reduce the amount of feeding that you need to do in your garden, reduces the intervention that you need to do for the garden, and improves the sustainability of your garden, which is why we're here. Number 5, tip number 5. So growing from seeds and taking cuttings. Now, leave me a comment, let me know if you grow from seed or if you've tried taking cuttings, if you take cuttings for yourself, for other people, if you do this, because I love it. So growing from seed, saving seed each year, it's really rewarding, and it's free. It's like when you're getting something for free, it's rewarding on its own. It's like getting a bargain. Taking cuttings, on the other hand, can be a little bit quicker than growing from seed, and the impact's a little bit faster as well. So you're planting out a nearly full-grown plant, depending on what the plant is, to be fair, faster than what you would do when you're growing from seed. So taking cuttings can be a little bit more rewarding. You are looking for a plant to fill a space in your garden, and you need, what am I saying with it? To understand the impact that you need to make. You need to fill a space, you need to add instant colour to your garden. So you might want to go out and buy a plant. But if you take a cutting, follow me on this one, if you take a cutting and grow it on a little bit, then this is going to be a free way of doing this as well. It's going to be more beneficial for your garden, because a prune of your plant will also, when you take cuttings, you effectively pruning your plant, will encourage vigor as well. So it will actually encourage your plant to produce more shoots and more buds. And they're also a very good resource. Now, I found this with collecting seeds over the years, but definitely with cuttings as well. You can use them to swap with people, which is quite good. And usually family, but friends and family go to garden sales or garden swaps. There's loads of groups on Facebook that you can swap your free garden cuttings and things like that. You can swap and then gain new plants that you haven't grown in your garden to like freshen your garden up. Again, growing your garden naturally. So, growing from seed and taking cuttings is an incredibly good way of gardening sustainably, naturally, and supporting the growth of your garden and providing something new for your garden, adding new things in for free. So, I hope these 5 tips have helped you and kind of opened your eyes up to the world of sustainable and natural gardening, what you can do. But let me know in the comments if after these 5 tips, gone through them, you can see things that you can take on yourself or things you're already doing that you didn't think of as sustainable gardening. Let me know in the comments what you're doing and what you can take on. And yeah, on that note, I will leave it there and have a wonderful day. And I will see you in my next one next week. See you later.